Let's talk about branding yourself, branding your business. Why is a brand such an important process to get your message out in a bigger way online? I'm so excited because today I am having a conversation with my pal, and I'm so excited to see you, Titania. Welcome, Titania Paige from Made for This Design. She's going to be a workshop leader at the Christian Entrepreneur Conference. Titania, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Such an honor.
Absolutely. Okay. So for those of us that just like we run our own business, but we don't really think about branding, maybe we think branding's for the artists. Like, why is branding so important when it comes to having a business?
I think the number one issue is expectations, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you come into a marriage, when you get into a relationship, especially one where you're investing money, expectations, meeting and exceeding expectations are so important. And the way you present yourself visually online is giving your potential client or your audience this foretaste of the expectations. Can they expect you to meet their standards, exceed, their expectations, or can they expect, a half effort? So it's so important the way you come and you show up online. That's why branding is so key.
That's so true. I have seen when people aren't well branded, which we'll talk about what are some of the components. I know that at the Christian Entrepreneur Conference, you are leading a workshop called the Brand Clarity Blueprints. We're going to give a little teaser. Of course, y'all need to be in the room. You need to come to the Christian Entrepreneur Conference in Nashville, Tennessee, April 27th through 29th. You can get your tickets right here, christianentrepreneurs.us/CEC. But in terms of the components of like what makes a brand, when somebody thinks brand, what would you say are maybe some of the elements of a brand?
Well, the first thing people think of is the fun part, right? The visuals. So, one of the things about the way I brand my clients is so important is that there has to be a fundamental strategy before we even touch how we want to look. Part of the brand strategy blueprint is really humbling the marketing language and making it easy to understand what you need in order to build the business that you're looking for, that you desire. And so you have to understand the vision first, right? So you need to understand, people call it your client avatar, but I call it your special guest. Who are you inviting into your online, your digital home? What kind of experience do you want to create? How are you going to transform your potential client with your service or product? And you have to understand that before you even get into the visual. So that clear client, the clear mission. So you're taking your client from point A to point, B, Z, ABC, whatever. You need to understand what is that transformation you're making, and you have to stay focused on that. And then we build visuals around that. So that's your logo, your fonts, but it's also the way you communicate, the tone of your voice when you write in a caption, and all those different things. So really, a brand is so much more than just the visuals. It's the overall experience you want to create. That's why I love to compare branding to hospitality, because when you invite somebody over, you have a clear understanding, a clear vision for you, how you want that experience with that person to be. And so that's what branding is all about.
Oh, I love that. That's so good. Okay. I love that. Your brand is your overall experience that you want people to have when they work with you.
Yes.
That's so good. So I guess you have to sort of envision especially for those that are just getting started, you have to kind of picture like, what does that experience look like? And then design your brand from where you want to go.
And I think sometimes that's scary because it feels intimidating, because you don't know it all off the top. Of course, when you first begin, you have this vision, but you don't have the details yet. And so sometimes we shy away from that. But in the Brand Clarity Blueprint workshop, I'm going to share some very practical steps and exercises that don't take all day, that don't take forever, so that you can get those details, because Because the difference between positioning yourself online as somebody who's like more of an expert or worthy of that first investment from a client or from somebody else is somebody who clearly has a plan. Because we don't want to give our dollars to somebody who just vaguely want to jump on a call. What are we gonna do on this call? What are you gonna give me on this call? Am I gonna get a return, or am I just giving you dollars for an hour? So the difference between showing up as somebody who is an expert in your niche versus just having a potentially, having a pretty website or just having some content up there is the people who take the time to really understand that transformation and who they're serving. So these details are what we're going to work on and then put that into a practical, actionable plan in the actual brand clarity blueprint session.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah. And to get your tickets to the Christian Entrepreneur Conference, just go to christianentrepreneurs.us/CEC. And I really like what you're saying about branding, because I think what branding helps to do is build trust, builds familiarity. And so when you do eventually get on a webinar or a sales call or even to a sales page, the potential client is more likely to do business with you because you've already built that relationship with them. Has that been your experience as well?
Yes. And a lot of times, when I would ask people why they decided to book me. I mean, because there's so many brand designers out there. There's so many strategists and marketing gurus online. And the number one thing that people would tell me is that, well, I knew your values aligned with my values. So how do they know that? Because I put that information out front. So they see that not only do I offer, stunning design, but I also am in alignment with the things that you care about. They also said that they could see my personality, especially when it comes to like one-on-one services, like such as coaching and anything where there's going to be this kind of a long-term or like a project, a partnership. People really need to know that they like you and can trust you. And that's across the board. I think Seth Godin has an excellent quote about being likable and trustworthy. And that's what converts people or makes people say, okay, this is the person for me.
That's so good. Awesome. Titania, I'm so excited that you are going to be speaking at the Christian Entrepreneur Conference and talking about branding. And I love that you were also one of our sponsors at the Hope Writers Conference, where we got to know each other.
Yes.
And you are such a wealth of knowledge when it comes to how to position yourself, how to share your story, how to brand yourself. So for those of you entrepreneurs watching that are thinking about, how can I go to the next level? Branding is probably it. Branding is your next level. And Titania is here to help you. So come join us. Come join us. Titania, what would you say to somebody who's not planning on coming to Nashville for the Christian Entrepreneur Conference? What would you say to them at this point?
I would say you're probably scared. And I know why, because I've been there. You're probably scared because of dollars. You're probably scared because maybe you don't think that you belong. You're probably scared because you don't want to be alone. But but everything you're afraid of is the total opposite. So one of the things that the Lord has taught me is that, money is a tool, it's a resource. You're not right now at this moment that, $100 pair of shoes or all that money you spent on coffee, in the past weeks, you're not thinking about that money, are you? No, because it happens. You spend money on those things. But what if you spent money on something that could actually be an income drawer? It could actually give you, could enrich your life with more experiences and more understanding on how to actually launch your business or take it to the next level. So don't get caught up on, okay, this small amount of money or this bit of money that I have to invest to come, because you're not worried about the money that you spent on other things that didn't give you a return on investment.
So that's a good point.
And then you're not gonna be alone. There are gonna be so many people who feel just like you. And then the extra sweet part, the cherry on top, is that there are people who care about the same things you do and want to do crazy entrepreneurs. They want to do entrepreneurship. That is a faith journey. So you need some people around you with a faith mindset to go into it. So don't feel like you're going to be alone. Don't feel like you can't make an investment in this experience to come, because it's going to give you a return. And I forgot, what was the last thing I said? Come alone. Okay. Oh gosh. But the point is, you need to come. If you're trying to do a faith-based business, if you're a Christian entrepreneur, this is something that's going to iron sharpens iron, and it's going to make you better. It's going to be worth it. So don't get caught up on being lonely or money or like you don't belong, because you do. And you're going to be surprised by how encouraged you are, and how, because when you see other people that have flesh and bone, they put on jeans and a t-shirt, but they're doing the business thing, you're going to be like, you know what? I can do this. And there are people here to help me with this. And the speakers are so robust. They're going to help you from A to Z, because there's so much in the business you just like to start in a business you don't know. But I've looked at the conference speaker lineup and I'm just like, man, I wish I had this. So please come. You will not regret it. I'm super excited.
That's so good. I love it. I love it. I'm totally there too, Titania. It's like one of the things that I've learned over time is that like money replenishes. This idea, right? This idea that that you have this window to take action, and what happens is action builds upon action. So being in the room, taking action, it's so true. You look back on 2 weeks later and you're like, where did my money even go? And this is an opportunity to say, you know what, this is such an important value for me. I want to build upon that. Yes. So that's why we put the Christian Entrepreneurs Conference together. I just didn't see anybody else that was in the space that was creating an event specifically for Christian entrepreneurs to come together to support and encourage each other and to take action. And I see a couple comments. One of the comments is, I can't go. Well, here's the thing. I want to encourage you to flip that around. If you're saying to yourself right now, I can't go, and this is true of any area in your business, but let's just take this conference as an example. I can't go. Flip that around and say, how could I go? How could? And how there could be some possibility. What could open up if you ask, how could I, or what would need to happen? Because sometimes when you name it, you're like, oh, it's actually not the issue that I thought it was. So I love doing that. When I have a can't in my mind, I'm going to flip it around to how could I? And you might just be surprised at what shows up.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Titania, thank you so much for being with us. I look forward to seeing you in person, my friend, at the Christian Entrepreneur Conference. It's going to be awesome. Y'all get your ticket, christianentrepreneurs.us/CEC. Get your ticket today. Early bird pricing is ending soon.